Hi everyone, tonight I want to talk a little bit about super neighbors, super neighboring. And I guess I'll start by taking you here to the forums and help. So you want to click on that. If you're not registered, go ahead and register. Otherwise, enter your username and password, and that'll log you in. Then you want to go to the game guide. Then you want to go down here to chapter 5, neighbors. It says updated. That's probably for the new web page. Then you want to go to what is a super neighbor? Question number 8. Click on that. And up comes everything you want to know about super neighboring. Okay? But that's just to show you where to go so you can read it on your own. Okay? What I'm going to talk about is what I've learned. Now, I had somebody working my farm, so sorry about all this. But super neighbors. Okay, down here you see the red button. That means that he is my super neighbor. Okay? Over here, you see purple buttons. That means I am their super neighbors. Okay? So, that's how you tell that. Then if you click on your name, you can order by super neighbor, which is helpful. And I like that because I take care of my super neighbors first, and then I do other stuff. Well, actually, I do my ships and trains first, and then I do my super neighbors, okay? But that's an easy way to see who's your super neighbor and who's not, okay? Now, it says in the forum guide that you can have up to 20 super neighbors. However, I find that ridiculous because at one point I had 8 or 9 super neighbors, like 8 or 9 of these purple dots. It went to the next page, and so it went out to like over here somewhere. So what happened was I found myself only working my super neighbor farms. I didn't have time for my own farms, okay, which is why they're half done and not decorated, because I was busy working my super neighbor farms. Now, with that being said, yes, there's an advantage. I got experience points. I was able to level up. I got lots and lots of coins. So there's definitely benefits to you to have super neighbors, but I would just caution onto how many you actually have or want. Okay? Now, when it comes to hiring a super neighbor, you see how I only have one? And that's because I like my farms done a certain way. And it's hard to teach multiple people how you like your farms done. But it's not so difficult to train or teach one person. Okay, that's a benefit. Not only that, but you don't want to have 4 or 5 super neighbors coming to your farm and working it, because that gets awkward. One, they run into each other, they don't know what to do. 2, they come to work your farms, there's no work to be done because all your other super neighbors have worked them. That goes with fish or crops. Maybe one of the super neighbors planted certain crops because they wanted to harvest them, because they get a percentage of that. So, and then they come to harvest it and it's already been harvested by another super neighbor. I just don't think it's very nice to hire more than one super neighbor for your farms. Now, I have 40 farms, okay? And 1 through 4, I do 2-hour, 4-hour, 8-hour, 12-hour crops. Then I do 6-day, 5-day, and 2 4-days. Then 9 through 40, is whatever. It could be 3-day crops, 2-day crops, 12-hour crops, 4-hour crops, whatever I'm low on. Now, with that being said, if you've never super neighbored for somebody else before, you want to make sure you get very specific instructions from them, how they want their farms done, what you can and what you cannot do, okay, things of that nature. So with Steven, I'm going to go ahead and click his name. I'm going to edit Super Neighbor, and I'm going to remove all his privileges. And what that does is that makes him no more a super neighbor. So if you want to get rid of a super neighbor, that's how you do it. You just click their name and edit super neighbor and just remove all the check boxes, okay? But now I'm going to show you how you make somebody a super neighbor. So because he's no longer my super neighbor, I'm going to click on his name, set as super neighbor. Now here's the thing you want to think about. What do you want the super neighbor to do? Maybe you only want them to do your fishing. So you would click that one, permanently hired, and unclick the other boxes. Okay, that way this person is only going to be able to do your fishing on all your farms. Okay, so you could do that. Or if you don't want them to do your fishing, say you want them just to do your trees. So you would unclick all the other boxes except for harvesting of trees and chopping of trees. Then that person would only be allowed to do your trees. Now, here's what I think. Say you wanted to hire a couple super neighbors. Well, let each super neighbor have its own job. You know, some people just want to do fishing. They want to make the coins. Maybe other people just want to do your trees. Or maybe they just want to do your flowers. Or maybe they're looking for experience points and they just want to do your crops and planting. So there's various ways you can hire more than one super neighbor, but don't hire more than one super neighbor to do all the work, because then, you know, you run into that little bit of annoying by wasting their time coming to your farms and the work's already been done. Okay, with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and put them back and allow them to do everything, because they know how I want my farms done. So there's even one here that says allow planting, and I allow him to do that because he knows how I run my farms and how to plant. Some people don't know how to plant, okay? Yeah, they just go in and pick random helter-skelter crops that you may not need, you know? Or they pick crops that they need. Okay, so with that being said, say you run into somebody who has really awesome farms and you want to hire them for design. So you would click this, permanently hire for design, and then you would pick which farm you want them to work on. Okay, with this little drop down menu. And then you would say allow selling and buying of items with my coins, and you would check that. And that way they can buy and sell items with your coins and decorate your farm. I think though, if memory serves me, you have to be on that farm with them. I don't know, but I would check the forums and guides help tab and check that out about designing, or maybe it's under neighbors. I'm not sure where you would find that information, but it's definitely out there somewhere. I read about it. Well, I'm not going to hire this guy for design. Now, down here, It says permanently hired for management. Allow management of trains. Yes. Because what that means is when I'm away from my farm or not online, and my super neighbor is, if he comes and checks out my farms, I'll show you. Okay, anyway, I hired him back, and I'm going to click green. Now his little red dot comes back, so that he's my super neighbor again. And I'm also his super neighbor, so I'm just going to go to his farm real quick to show you what I mean. I'm going to visit his farm because he's allowed me to train manage for him as well. So when I go visit his farm, you see over here, this little toolbox over here, it says 2. Well, if you click on that, that means there's 2 trains waiting to be boosted. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that, and I'm going to go ahead and boost them for him. Now he's going to get all these extra products, and he's not even online or in his farm. Kind of cool, right? Okay, so that's what it means when you allow somebody to have management of your trains. So when they visit your farm, you check their little toolbox, and if it's got numbers on it, that means there's trains in their train manager waiting to be boosted. So you just click on that, and now he doesn't have any trains to boost. But let's look at his trains. Okay, so now we're looking at his trains, and he's got one that's ready to be unloaded. Guess what? We can do that. We can unload, get him his products, and then we can also dispatch. Okay, so it's out and running again. But we cannot ask for boost requests. When he comes online or whatever, he'll have to do that himself. Okay, and this mayor bonus rules, you want to make sure you have at least 3 trains dispatched or whatever. So he only has 2, so it doesn't really count with him. If he had a 3rd train, or say he had 4 or 5 trains, well, at that point you want to make sure that 3 of them have been dispatched, right? You don't want him to lose his mayor bonus. Okay, what did I complete? I completed something. Oh, look, by doing that I completed the train thing. That's cool. Alright, so it works towards your farm pass. Didn't know that. Alright, I'm going back to my default farm. But that was just that just is what it looks like when you allow somebody to do your trains, which is kind of nice. So after that, so we talked about hiring, how to set it up, how many to hire. We talked about the train manager, what that looks like, how to check that out. Now I want to talk about working for other people as their super neighbor. Okay, one more thing with Steven. Okay, because I do my farms 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, all different. Okay, what you can do is go ahead and pre-select a crop that you want them to plant. Okay, say Steven comes to my farm 1. He knows that it's a 2-hour crop that I want planted, but if he doesn't know how to figure out what to plant, you can preset it for him. So you go to your toolbox, you come over here to this little super neighbor manager, this little blue, it's got a red dot, so you know you got a super neighbor. You click on that, and up comes your farms. You can say show farm names. So this is farm 1, 2, 3, 4. It goes in order, basically. So now I'm going to show crop names. Well, let's see. Right now, I have planted, I don't know how to say that name, purpurea. I planted that. So I don't want that planted again. So I'm going to go to my 2-hour crops. Up here, you click on this, go to 2-hour. go to your A to Z, click on that, and click on stored amount. Okay, so right now, sorry about all this, it's showing that I need that pepper up, but we know it's already been planted, right? When you do stored amount, when you come over here and you click stored amount, what it does is it reorganizes these, and this first one is what you have least of, and then it goes this way, down here, this way. So in essence, right now, according to this, I have more raspberry than I do anything else. So I don't need to plant raspberry right now. And because it's me, I know we planted this already. So my next crop that I would want planted would be the fennel. Okay? So we go back to our Super Neighbor Manager, and right now it says that, but we actually know that we want fennel. So you just scroll down to fennel and you pick that and you save changes, yes. So now when Stephen comes to this particular farm and he harvests it and he goes to plant it with the sower, he's only going to get an option that says the owner only wants you to plant fennel. And so he can't plant anything else but the fennel. Okay? It's not showing you that right now because it's my farm and I'm doing it. Okay. Now, like 9 through 40, I have set up as open farms. So I just go and I just pick, I select all, okay, and then I select stored amount, okay, and then what comes up, 1 day, 3 day, 3 day, 12 hour, 2 day, 12 hour, 3 day. So it looks like I'm low on 3 day and 12 hours. I only got 1 2 day and 1 day. So I know I just planted 3 day crops, so I'm going to go with the 12 hour crops, okay? So then I would pick 12 hours, and then I would hit stored amount, and this is how I would plant them in this order, left to right. This is the least amount that you have, and this is the most amount that you have of that item. So you want to start with your least amount. Because I have so many farms, I'll double up. So once you get to the end, you still have more farms. So I just come back to the top and start replanting these. Because these are the ones you're lowest on anyway. So if you double up on them, it works out. Okay, so in that case, you could go to your Super Neighbor Manager, and here where it says any, you could say any 12-hour crop, right? And set to all. Set to all, any 12-hour crop. But see, now what that does is it resets these up here. So you'd have to go back and fix this. Let's see if I can do it. What'd we say? Fennel? And I want fennel planted next in this one. Let's see if that works. Yeah, that works. Alright, so if you have like an open number of fields that, you know, you want to plant it with 12-hour crops, hopefully the person knows how to do the stored amount and they go in order. But if not, at least you know you're getting 12-hour crops that you're hopefully low on. And then you just go back, like this is my 4, my farm number 2 is my 4-hour crop farm. Oh, so don't forget to save your changes, save changes. And that's how that works, how to preset what your Super Neighbor can plant. You can play around with it. It's kind of cool. Okay? Now, let's talk about working for other people. Okay, I'm going to wrap this up real quick. Working for other people. Try not to have too many. Start out with maybe 2 or 3. See how that goes. Make sure you know how they want their farms done. You can ask as many questions as you want. I find that helpful. Excuse me. Like this lady, she just wants the chia planted on all her farms. So I fish for her and then I just plant the chia and I'm done. This lady lets me do whatever. So I go, let me just go to her farm real quick. I go to her farm. She's got crops planted now. They're not ready to be harvested. I know that because I just checked it out. But we'll go to her farm one anyway. See, she's got it planted. But let's say she didn't, and I don't know what the heck to plant for her. I go on all, okay, stored amount, okay, and see what she's got going on. A lot of 1 day. So she needs 1 days. So once this grows and I can harvest it, I'll be planting 1 day crops for her because that's what she needs. Now, if they don't tell you specifically to go by stored amount or whatever, or what they're low on, they'll say, when I'm low on, just plant what I'm low on, or, you know, use the stored amount, or maybe they want you to do something differently, like plant all the same crops. I don't know. So it just comes in handy to know what to plant. Like, you just don't want to go planting random things, you know. And also for time management purposes, like, she's got 37 crops, or 37 fields. So, you don't want to be planting 2 hour, 12 hour, 3 day, 5 day, because then you're always going back to her farm all day long. You don't want to do that. Set yourself up good. If you're going to plant 12-hour crops, try to plant 12-hour crops on all your other super neighbors too. If you're going to plant 1 day crops, try to plant 1 day crops on all your other super neighbors too. It's like time management. So like fishing. I do fishing for all my super neighbors. So what I do is I pick a time, usually around this time, 7 or 8. I'll go and I'll do all her fishing. I'll leave her farm, I'll go to this one, I'll do all the fishing. I leave that farm, I go to this one, I do all the fishing. Same with this one. That way, every day, all their fishes are going to be ready at the same time. Then I can go back and figure out the crops and the planting, okay? If they allow you to do that. It depends on what they allow you to do. So that's pretty much the basics of super neighbors and super neighboring. Don't get overzealous. Don't get 20 of them. You don't need it. Just be careful and think about it when you go to hire one, because, I tried to hire one myself and it freaked me out because I'm anal retentive and a control freak, and I like to run my farms the way I like to run my farms. So I go to the map, I go to Job Marketplace, and I go to H for hire, and I hire people to do my trees, and I hire people to do my crops. I hire a different person for a different thing. That way 4 or 5 different people can get work. And you know what the job marketplace is like, right? So you don't have to always use super neighbors, but it's nice to have just one for backup, And I'm going to go back to my home farm, I think. My default farm. Anyway, if you have any questions or comments about super neighboring or becoming a super neighbor or hiring a super neighbor, just leave your comment or question and I'll get back to you. I usually check my videos about once a week, I don't get too many comments or questions, but that's the ditty on super neighboring and super farming and all that good stuff. So happy farming, everyone, and enjoy your evening. Thanks for watching my video. Bye bye.